Policy expert for the conservative think tank Heritage Foundation. Nice to have you with us.
Hi, good afternoon.
Let's talk about what we just heard from President Trump, and let's start with the border wall. And you just saw our reporter, our correspondent, Gadi Schwartz, down at the border. A lot of folks there kind of skeptical about all of this. Do you think President Trump is heading in the right direction when he says this is what we need? This should be #1 priority. Get that wall up.
I think Trump's America First strategy, right? This is kind of like the core of it. It's ensuring America's safety. And I think our allies should be reassured by that, because Mexico recognizes the utility of walls, and Mexico recognizes the utility of border security. I mean, if we look at what they're doing along their border with Guatemala, I mean, they're largely stemming the flow of unlawful migration from Central America, and they're doing a great job at that.
But on the other hand, if there are parts of the sections of the border where Gadi's been, where other of our correspondents have been, where the people that live there say we don't really need a wall. It's already, there's not very much illegal immigration coming over right now. It's actually lower than it has been in years, is what people are telling us who live there. So is it an expense that maybe this country doesn't need right now?
Well, I think we need to separate the issue of the border from immigration, right? Because the border and having an effective and secure border doesn't just stop unlawful migrants. It stops unlawful commodities coming into the country, illegal narcotics. I mean, the drug business is obviously something that's booming, and that's destabilized various cities throughout the United States, and many of them are border cities. And that's an issue that needs to be resolved, and that's something that President Trump has an obligation to do something about.
Let me ask about sanctuary cities, because that's the other big news that we got this afternoon.
Yes.
And I was just reading from the executive order. They say they're going to strip federal grant money for any city that continues to be a so-called sanctuary city or give sanctuary to people who are undocumented. Those cities have argued the reason they've put those policies in place is because they want people who are working members of the community who might be undocumented to be a part of the community and not to feel threatened, right? And to feel like they can call the police. If they need to call the police, they can be part of helping stop crime. What's wrong with the idea of sanctuary cities?
Well, I think the focus of the sanctuary city policy is not to go after and not to penalize the many hardworking families that are here in this country that are,
right,
that are working, that are contributing many of their tax dollars. That's not who this is targeting. I mean, this policy seeks to penalize people who are here in this country unlawfully and who are also violent criminals. I mean, we remember what happened last year in San Francisco, and just during his remarks, President Trump was recognizing many of the families who have been harmed by this violence. And I think that's something that any reasonable person should be able to recognize, that we should not want people in this country who are going to be committing crimes against our own citizens and also against their own people as well.
I think that, factually and as far as the polling, people on both sides of the aisle agree with that statement. Nobody wants criminals to remain in the country. But I guess I'm asking about the sanctuary cities, because in this order, they're saying they're going to withhold federal grants from any city that cannot faithfully execute the immigration laws of the United States. I'm reading right from the order. So that means not just getting rid of criminals, but enforcing all laws, right? And going after people who might have families, people who might be working but are illegally here. Are you okay with that?
I think logically we need to assume that we want our local municipalities, whether it's state, county, or city level, to follow the laws of the federal government. And when they don't, and when they explicitly and outright say, we are going to disobey a federal order, we're going to disobey our federal law, there's a problem. And I think the Trump administration has an obligation to do something about that.
R Quintana, nice to have your thoughts with us today, your perspective. Thanks so much.
Good afternoon.
You too. We do go back to that